guys, it's Emily here, and this is actually going to be a 1-year update on my 17 and pregnant video. So, I'm officially 18 now, and I'm a mom now, so that's pretty cool. So I have a beautiful baby girl, and her name's Haley. I'm actually a single mom now too, so that's pretty interesting. Her father and I couldn't be together anymore. It just wasn't the most compatible relationship, but we're still on good terms. My girl is actually going to be 5 months old tomorrow actually, so that's pretty cool. I think when I made my last video, I was 14 weeks pregnant, I believe, so that's pretty crazy. So I'd like to talk a bit about the rest of the pregnancy and how the whole birth experience went, and it wasn't the greatest experience, but I'll get into that. So we had the gender reveal party shortly after I made that video. My mom ended up throwing a gender reveal party after me and her father broke up. And the gender reveal was great. It was kind of a gender reveal gone wrong though. It was pretty funny. So basically what ended up happening was my mom did a bath bomb thing and she did balloons. And we had her boyfriend open the balloons from this box. Like it was those balloons in a box, and when you open the box, the balloons float up and tell you whether it's a boy or a girl. And he was opening the box the same time that I was dropping the bath bomb into the water. I was sitting there, I dropped the bath bomb in, I noticed the water was turning blue, and I saw at the corner of my eye, the balloons were pink. I look at the balloons and they say it's a girl, and the water was blue, so that was pretty funny. The water actually ended up turning purple. So I was a little bit confused. I knew I wasn't having boy-girl twins or anything. I knew there was just the one baby in there. But it was pretty cool. My intuition, again, was on spot with the baby. I knew it was a girl. So as soon as I found out it was a girl, I started going crazy for girl clothes because I love baby girl clothes. It's so fun to go shopping for all the little dresses and the little bows and things. So as soon as I found out she was a girl, I already had the name picked out, Haley. It was a name that's really meaningful to me. It was actually going to be one of my names when I was a baby, but I ended up being Emily, of course. So the rest of the pregnancy went pretty well. The only physical things I really remember was a lot of leg cramps through the night, especially the more further along I got. The labor, that was interesting. I think I started getting contractions. I thought that they were Braxton Hicks, but I was confused because I thought Braxton Hicks weren't supposed to be painful and whatever. I wasn't even supposed to feel anything with them. But I ended up getting those. I think it was for probably about a week, 2 weeks maybe before she was born. They were kind of on and off, and I only started timing them after they had been happening for a while and started to get a little more painful. They basically just felt like very mild period cramps when it first started. My belly would get like hard as a rock. I remember how totally surreal it all felt too. Once I realized, okay, I'm definitely in labor, I started timing my contractions, and they were all, I think, about a minute or two apart. And before all that had happened, I remember I had lost my mucus plug. It was a few days before I ended up going to the hospital. I remember I knew right away, oh, I just lost my mucus plug. And I think it was a couple days later. I don't really remember the whole time frame of all of it, but I know a few days later I ended up, my contractions were pretty bad. We were celebrating my brother's birthday, and we ended up having ice cream cake and stuff, and ice cream cake was actually the last thing I ate before I became a mother, so that was pretty interesting. I remember that night of the party for my brother, I ended up going up to my room to go to bed, and I was laying there and the contractions would not stop, and throughout that whole afternoon and everything that day, they were already starting to get pretty bad, but when I went to go to bed, that's when they started, okay, I think I need to go to the hospital. And I ended up waking my mom up. I think it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke her up and she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go pack my stuff and we can go. So we both hurried up and packed up last minute things because I don't think I even really had my hospital bag completely packed. Honestly, I don't think I really brought much anyways. I brought a couple little outfits for her. I think I brought some diapers, but I ended up just stealing all the diapers they had in my room at the hospital. Anyway, so it was 1 o'clock in the morning and we headed to the hospital. I remember walking through the parking lot and I'd get a contraction and I'd stand there and lean over, try and breathe through it. Like, they weren't the worst contractions I ended up feeling. Like, they were pretty intense, but nothing horrible. I was, when I first started getting my periods and stuff as a teenager, a lot of the time my period cramps were like horrible, like worse than some of these contractions I was experiencing. So I was kind of used to that pain already, so it didn't really affect me as much. Anyways, we went into the hospital and the emergency room. I told them what I was experiencing and whatever, so they brought me upstairs. Sorry, I'm outside, so it's a little bit loud. So we got up there to my room, and I don't remember what the room was called, but it wasn't like the birth room. It was like the room where they do their tests and whatever on you. So I got in there, and they started hooking me up to all kinds of machines, and so they were able to hear Haley's heartbeat, make sure all was good, and track my contractions and everything. And they said I was definitely experiencing contractions. And I remember I was having a really hard time sleeping, so they ended up putting me on some morphine and Gravel, I believe. So that helped a little bit. Like, I was kind of dozing in and out throughout that whole night. And my mom was having some issues because she's not vaccinated for COVID, and neither am I. So the nurses were giving us a bit of a hard time with things because of that. It's part of why my experience at the hospital was not the greatest. They wouldn't let my mother leave the hospital itself because of their COVID rules. You know, she's gonna go catch COVID and bring it into the hospital, going out to the parking lot to her car. And we had left all our bags in the car when we got there because we weren't sure if I was gonna be staying or not. So we're not gonna drag a bunch of bags with us all the way up to that floor and get in the room when we're not even sure if I'd be staying or not, right? So anyways, they ended up telling us that they could get me in a room. So I think that was the next morning. It was probably around 7 o'clock in the morning, I want to say. My brain's kind of foggy with that because I didn't have access to a phone or a clock or anything. I was just in the zone, working on the contractions and trying to sleep and do everything I could before she was here. And we ended up going to that other room. And I remember sitting there, and that room was a lot nicer than the other room I was in anyways, so it was nice. I ended up, they set up a bath for me and stuff, so I went and hung out in the bath, and I found the bath actually helped a lot with the contractions. It was nice and soothing and relaxing, but I'm the type of person who gets really hot really fast and easily. Like, if I'm in the bath too long, I'm gonna, like, overheat. So I was in there for probably about 5 or 10 minutes. I wasn't in there long because I was getting really warm and it was frustrating me. I get angry when I'm warm. So I ended up getting out of the bath, and they were going to set me up on a birthing ball, and I didn't end up doing that because I told them I want the epidural. See, my original birth plan was not to get the epidural. I wasn't going to get any pain meds, no nothing, but oh God, I'm glad I got the epidural. The contractions started getting to the point where I was like, uh-oh, I need to get the epidural. They're just gonna get worse from here? Yeah, no thank you. So anyways, they ended up checking my cervix and stuff, and I think by that point I would have been about 4 or 5 centimeters dilated. I don't remember exactly how dilated I was, but I was 100% effaced since I had gotten to the hospital at 1 o'clock in the morning. And they ended up giving me the epidural. I wanted to hurry up and get it done before it was too late and I couldn't get it anymore. So I got the epidural, and not too long after, I started losing all the feeling in my legs and everything, which is normal. It's supposed to happen. So that was nice. It helped a lot. I had the most perfect epidural ever. It completely numbed all the contractions. I only knew I was getting a contraction because my belly would get really, really hard. I just didn't feel it. So it was kind of weird, but it was nice. I loved it. I remember at one point, I was talking to my mom and I'm like, how do I know when it's time to push? I watched a lot of like videos and read all kinds of articles and things from other women who have gone through birth, like childbirth and whatever. And so I kind of knew when it was time to push, but like when you're actually there experiencing it, you don't really know. Like you kind of get unsure about things. So anyways, my mom told me that, well, you're gonna feel like you need to poop. And I said, well, that's kind of how I feel, but I'm not sure. Like, I don't know if I actually am ready to push out this baby or if I have to go to the washroom. But anyways, it was time to push. So the nurses ended up calling the doctor up, my OBGYN, and she came up and talked me through how to push and everything, and they set me up so I could push her out. And I ended up, I don't remember how long I was pushing for, but they had checked my cervix and everything, and I was 10 centimeters dilated, 100% of face, so it's like, oh yeah, it's time for this baby to come out. And they could feel her head and everything, so I ended up pushing, and I don't feel like I was pushing for very long, and they were actually surprised because they couldn't even tell that I was pushing because of how quiet I was. I don't know, I thought I would have been one to sit there and scream, but I guess not. I just laid there and pushed, and next thing I know, oh, I have a baby in my arms. So that was pretty cool. I remember my mom ended up cutting her umbilical cord, and actually I almost gave birth to her without the doctor in the room because my doctor ended up having to go downstairs to do a quick procedure or something. So she ended up telling the nurses, if the baby comes before I get back up here, just give me a call, whatever. And pretty much as soon as she walked in the room, it was like, oh, there's her head, here she comes. And so we did some skin-to-skin contact as soon as she came out. They handed her right to me, and I laid there with her on my chest and on my stomach, and she ended up pooping all over me, so that was great. Day one as a mother, I was covered in baby poop. Not once, but twice. So at that point, it was, it was 3 p.m. when she was born, and my mom needed to go. It was later that evening. She had to go and check on my brothers and check out how things were going at the house and everything, and she wasn't allowed to come back if she left. She couldn't even go to the car and grab our bags because she's unvaccinated. And they gave us a really hard time, and I'm someone who has always struggled with a lot of anxiety. So I was sitting there holding my newborn baby, crying, having a panic attack because what am I supposed to do? My mom's here to help me, and I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a new mom. I'm 17 years old. I've never gone through anything like this, and I can't have my mom with me by my side. And the nurses tried to tell me, oh, it's okay. Do you have any other family members who can come in and replace her? None of my family is vaccinated, so they weren't going to let any one of my family members in there with me. So that was pretty horrible. My mom ended up leaving that night, and I really didn't want her to leave, but she had to. She had things to do, and I couldn't force her to stay there with me because she was going crazy being in that same room for so long. Well, that's kind of weird. One of Haley's toys just turned on. Anyway, so I was sitting there having my panic attack, and a nurse came in the room, and she was like, did somebody hurt your feelings? Are you okay? I said, no, nobody hurt my feelings. It's you guys and your stupid rules that's making me feel like this. She was basically insinuating that my mother said something to me to make me feel bad. Like, no, sorry, honey, it's your rules that make me feel like that. So this nurse looks at my mother, looks back at me, and my mom started going off on her, telling her, like, You guys are ridiculous. Your stupid rules. You want me to leave my daughter here? She's my baby, and my baby just had a baby. You should, like, let me stay here with my daughter and whatever." So the nurse looks at her, leaves the room without saying a single word. Next thing we know, there's I believe it's called, was it code white? I forget what color it was. I don't know all that stuff. But anyway, she calls code white, and next thing we know, my mom told me, "Oh, yeah, she's calling on us," because apparently my mom must have threatened her or something, made her feel unsafe, because she was telling her how she felt about leaving her daughter all by herself in the hospital, who struggles with anxiety because she doesn't have a vaccine. Like, it's ridiculous. And anyways, so security and a bunch of nurses and everyone shows up in the room, and they all started talking to us to try and calm us down and whatever. So that was ridiculous, and we ended up coming to the conclusion that yes, my mother had to leave and I had to stay there all by myself with a newborn baby. And it's like, most people would have a partner with them, but I didn't. So I'm back. It's actually about a week later, and here's my daughter. Say hi, Haley. Hi. Alright, so I'm back. I know it's only about a second for you guys, but it's about a week later for me. My phone ran out of storage and stopped recording. I'm now recording on my laptop, so the quality is probably a lot worse. Anyways, from what I remember, where I left off, I was telling you guys about the code white and everything, and how my mother had to leave me at the hospital with this little one. So my mom ended up having to leave me at the hospital, of course, because she was unvaccinated, and she had to go check on things at home and everything, and sorry, she's distracting me. She had to check on things at home, and they wouldn't let her come back after that because she's unvaccinated, and they thought she was going to catch COVID if she went home. It was all so ridiculous. I ended up being stuck in the hospital for about 3 days. It was horrible. I was all by myself with her. She was a newborn baby, of course. I just had given birth to her. I didn't really know what I was doing, and the nurses were barely helping me at all. A couple of them who were all right, but most of them were not. Fortunate. So, oh, she just puked. Okay, the puke's all gone now. So I ended up having to spend another 2 days in the hospital, so I was there a total of 3 days by the time I left. There Friday night, and I only got home, I think it was Sunday night. And the pediatrician that was on the floor at that time, he told me that I'm going to have to stay another night. Before she had mentioned that, I had a nurse come in and tell me that I'm probably going to have to stay another night because they noticed my daughter's ears seemed out of place. Honestly, I feel like she just pulled that out of her ass. My daughter's ears look fine, don't they? Basically just told me, oh, I can't really say anything more, but her ears are lower than they usually are. I thought that was ridiculous, so I called my mom and I talked to her about it. She told me it's stupid, it's bullshit, and we're gonna, she's gonna come pick me up when she can, whatever. Okay, so that's around the time that the doctor had come in. I was on the phone with my mom. The doctor told us that, oh, it's not because of her ears, because her genitals seemed a little swollen. More swollen than usual, apparently. So she let me leave that night on condition that I get a doctor for her, because I hadn't found a pediatrician for her, because there was only, I think, one available in the whole city. Because most doctors were not taking any more new patients, let alone newborn babies. Whatever, it was the weekend, and I wasn't able to find a pediatrician for her on the weekend. So the doctor said that if I could find one by the end of the week, I can go home that night. I told her, okay, I'll make some phone calls Monday morning. So anyway, she let me leave. So my mom came to pick us up, went home. I was so happy to be out of the hospital. God, it was horrible. I had pretty much no clue what I was doing. The first few days, a little crazy, because this one would not stop crying. Yes, that's right. That's how your first few days went. I would try feeding her and she wouldn't latch. Would latch and then she'd start crying. Went over and over and over like that. So I was running on like no sleep. My grandmother actually ended up coming over one night. She spent the night to help me out, so that was amazing. Spent the night and took care of her, other than the feedings, because I was exclusively breastfeeding. I was able to get some sleep, because I hadn't gotten sleep pretty much since before I even gave birth to her. Labor, I couldn't sleep. I was just in and out, in and out, in and out. So anyways, after a little while, I started getting used to the whole mother thing, and things, they didn't really get easier, I'd say, but once you kind of figure out what you're doing, what your role is, how it's all going, and you get to know the baby, it makes it a lot better. So we adapted. Sorry, she's a little cranky right now. She just ate, she just went down for a nap, but yet she's still cranky. Right? Right, Haley? You're my little cranky pants. Oh my goodness. Jump, 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 jump. You're a bouncing baby girl. Okay, so now she gets to look at the screen a little better, so she seems more content. So, some things about Haley. That's basically my whole birth story. Obviously, I left out some details. Overall, the whole experience, it was great having my daughter. I was so happy to have her in my life. But the experience itself at the hospital with the nurses and everything was not the greatest. And I'm actually supposed to be writing a complaint at some point, but I'm not the type of person to write complaints. I don't like doing that. But seriously, it was traumatic. So my next baby, it's going to be a home birth. Sorry, Haley, you're going to be my only hospital birth. At least that's my plan. I really did not like being stuck in the hospital for 3 days, and I didn't like the entire situation. It was horrible. But, like, the birth itself was all right. Like I had said before, like, the contractions weren't that bad. They got to a point where I decided, okay, I want the epidural. And, like, the pushing and everything didn't feel a single thing. So that part of it was all right. The pain and everything, it was great. Barely felt anything. And, after coming home, as I mentioned, she was crying and crying and crying, and I was crying, and my grandmother and my mom helped me out a lot. Okay, so we're on the living room floor now. Oh, there's one of her toys. Okay, so we're on the living room floor now. I'd like to mention, I'm gonna try and see if I could put some pictures from the labor and everything, and her birth and all that in. Because unfortunately, I didn't end up videotaping any of my labor or anything. Lots of pictures though, and oh my god, by the end of the pregnancy, I was huge! Like a blimp. Oh, great. Okay, puke number 2 is wiped out. As you can see, my daughter was a bit of a puker. She's definitely not an extreme puker, but she pukes enough that I pretty much smell like baby puke all the time. So now that you know the whole labor and everything experience, I'm gonna talk a bit about this one. So, her personality, well, she's pretty funny. She's super cute. She's 5 months and I want to say a week old now. She loves playing with her toys. She needs constant stimulation because she's very observant and very aware. Pretty much since she was born, she was like super, super strong. Like she was lifting her head up at birth. She absolutely loves tummy time. She loves her snuggles with mama. Loves company in general. She's a screamer. She doesn't cry, she just yells. See what I mean? It's not even a cry, it's a ah! 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 So she gets bored very easily. As you can see. There you go. Another thing about her, she loves her reflection. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier or not. You want your toy? There you go. There you go, babies. She loves food, as you can clearly see. This is my little chunker. Looks just like I did when I was a baby. I had all the little sections on my arms like she does. Same eyes and everything. Yeah. I ended up with green eyes though, and her eyes are like super, super blue. It's kind of hard to tell on here, but like, look at you! Aww. Yeah, she loves seeing her reflection. So when she's playing, I literally just put a mirror in front of her on the floor, and she'll lay there and stare at herself and smile and talk to herself. Oh, it's the cutest thing. So she's a very moody baby, kind of like her mother. I can be moody when I want to be. She loves going out for walks. Right now, actually, she's starting to kind of crawl. She's been on solid foods since the day she turned 4 months old, because she was showing me a lot of signs of wanting food. Anytime I'd sit down and eat, she'd sit there and stare me down, and she'd sit there and go, like, mocking me chewing. So when she hit 4 months old, I said, okay, whatever. They recommend food between 4 and 6 months of age. So I started at 4 months old. I started giving her this oatmeal. Found it on Amazon. It's, I don't remember the brand, but it only has 3 ingredients in it, and it's all organic, which I absolutely loved. Because there's so many baby products out there that are, like, very questionable. One who really likes to know what I'm putting in my body. It's kind of funny coming from a cigarette smoker, but food-wise, at least, I want to know what's going in my body and what's going in her body. So we try our best to eat all organic, all natural foods. Actually, vegetarian now, so that's pretty cool. Just never really liked the idea of eating meat. Grosses me out. It's like, yeah, let me just chew on some animal's flesh. Like, disgusting. No, thank you. So anyways, she's, eaten lots of food. So far, her favorite seems to be sweet potatoes. She also loves avocado. I was surprised because I made her avocado. I steamed it and then I mashed it and everything. And I try everything she eats. So I tried a scoop of it and it tasted horrible. But she loves the stuff, so whatever. So let me think. She started smiling at 1 month old. Started laughing. I want to say she was 2 or 3 months old. About 2 months old, she started kind of laughing. Now, like, she full-on belly laughs. It's the cutest thing. The thing she does when she gets excited, she'll sit there and go, It's really funny. Right now, actually, she's just chilling there, playing with her toy, laying on my lap. She also loves music. Something right here. It's a tongue drum. There's little stick things for it, but I don't have them with me, so I guess I'll just try it with my thumb. But she loves this thing. She also loves singing bowls. Really into spirituality, as you can tell with all my crystals hanging off my neck and whatever. So I have lots of instruments and things good for like different frequencies and stuff, for raising your vibration, and for meditation and stuff. Oh great, there's more puke. Guess I missed a spot when I was, oh nope. That's puke number 3. Okay, so I have her on the floor now and she seems content, so we'll leave her there for now. So she started rolling over. I think it was 2 months old she started rolling from her belly to her back. I know she was pretty early to start doing that. Or she just kind of did it like and shocked herself. She didn't know she could do that. So after she got the hang of it, she was rolling all the time. But then she couldn't roll back over. I think about a month ago, she started rolling from her back to her belly. Now she's been planking. Oh, I missed it. Anyways, so she's been planking, like she does push-ups. That started, I think, about, I want to say a week ago? Yeah, there she goes. Good job, baby girl. So she's been doing a lot of that, so I think she's going to be crawling real soon. It's funny, too, because when she's really frustrated, she starts doing that. And she actually manages to, like, propel herself forward sometimes. So she still doesn't quite sit up on her own yet. I've been trying to get her to sit up, and right now she's actually sitting up all by herself. So that's awesome. Look at you go, Haley. Mommy's so proud of you. Yeah. I think she just wants to look at herself for now. So she's sitting up, but most of the time she falls face first, or she leans over and rolls, or whatever. Another thing Haley loves is talking. Oh my god. She's been talking since probably about a month old. She just started, like, every time she would sneeze, she would go, ow, afterwards. It was the cutest thing ever. There she goes, rolling away on me. Yeah, so she gets around through rolling. I wanted to also talk about me and my postpartum experience. So I'm someone, as you know, who struggles with anxiety. I also got diagnosed with depression a few years back, but I actually didn't end up with any postpartum depression, and I am very, very surprised. I really thought if anyone were to get postpartum depression, it would have been me. Here I am. I definitely experienced a lot of anxiety at first, trying to figure out what I was doing, how to take care of a baby, because obviously I've never done that before. You can see her peeking out through the corner there. There you go. There you go, just like that. Ta-da! Okay. So anyways, I didn't end up with any postpartum depression. Anxiety, for sure, but no depression, which was very... So she keeps pausing it and unpausing it as I'm recording. I'm gonna have to hold her because she keeps pressing all kinds of buttons. She keeps pressing all kinds of buttons. Yes, she does. That's okay because I love her. Yes, Mommy loves you. Oh, is that another puke? Don't tell me. Okay, no, that was just a burp or something. Okay, so, anyways, no postpartum depression. Had a bit of anxiety, but I'm over it now. I'm alright. Haley's doing perfectly fine. And she puked again. Oh my god. Clearly, I didn't burp her well enough after her last feeding, so she's been puking a lot. She doesn't usually puke this much. It's just right now, of course, because I'm recording, she decides she's gonna puke a shit ton. Okay, so I put a toy in front of her, and we'll see if she plays with it, or if she just decides to keep puking, or do what she's doing, whatever. Okay, so postpartum has been alright. I still haven't gotten any period yet, which is very nice. I'm not complaining about that. The weight loss has been going pretty well. I'm still covered in stretch marks and got lots of extra skin, which is normal. Okay, so, oh, that's actually another thing she's been doing. She's been going, she's like obsessed with that. If I do it to her, she'll do it back to me, and back and forth, and back and forth. Where are you going? She's a very mobile 5-month-old baby, if you can't tell. She hates sitting still. Actually, that's a trait she probably got from her father. I mean, myself as well. I've definitely got a bit of ADHD somewhere in there. Oh, some issues with my laptop here, so sorry about that. Alright, so I think that's pretty much all I've got to say about the update. I'll try and include some pictures of the birth and stuff here if I can figure out how to do that. I'm not really that big of a tech person, so... Oh my gosh, what are you doing, Haley? Lay on the floor? Okay, she's laying on the floor again. That's probably not going to last very long. Alright, so I'll try and include some pictures if I can, maybe some videos for whatever. I guess I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for joining, and bye-bye.